Hello everyone. In this video we're going to go over all of the features that are found on the dashboard. So our advanced mapping, our KPIs and smart panel here. And I want to start off by saying that when logging in, do not be intimidated by the amount of information here. By the end of this video, everything is going to make perfect sense. We're going to go over everything. And the account that I'm logged in with right now is a Pro HeliumTrack account. So if you're using the free version, not everything here may be available to you, but all of the functionality that we'll be looking at is the same. There just might be some limitations, okay? So with that said, when logging in to HeliumTrack, you'll see our map. Our map is going to display various different dots on it, which represent live hotspots. Those are the green dots. And the pink hotspots currently are our planned hotspots on this account. You'll notice that there's a big ring around all of these hotspots, and I'm currently in Las Vegas. So the app itself, when you log in, is going to try to detect your location based on whether you give it permission, and if not, then it's going to use your IP address to find out that location. So it's going to try to bring the most relevant information to you when logging in. The next thing I'd like to go over is that you can zoom out on the map and you can actually see pretty much any area. Here's the United States. We can zoom into any other region and we can analyze those hotspots. Another way to jump to a region is you can simply type in an address, a town, zip code, city, country, anything of that sort. So let's go ahead and say we want to look at Austin, Texas. We have our Google Places autocomplete list. So when you click on that, it's going to go ahead and bring us to Austin, Texas. Now this ring is represented by this drop down here, which is a 15-mile radius. We can change that radius by selecting a different amount of miles. So if I wanted to increase that radius to 25 miles, you'll see how that ring grows. And if I drop it down to 15 miles or even 5 miles, we can see how the map zooms in. So this drop down controls our radius. And this radius is really what is loading up all of the data in our smart panel. It's analyzing all of the hotspots within this radius. The other variable that can be changed is the time frame. So right now, all of this data is pulling information from this 5 miles, this 5-mile radius and all the hotspots within that 5-mile radius. But it's also looking at all the data within a 24-hour period. So if we want to change that and say, well, we'd like to see more information, it'll be helpful for us to, for example, understand what has happened over the last 7 days. We can go ahead and select that as well. So let's take a look at the information that has been output here. And again, I want to encourage you guys not to be intimidated by the amount of information, because this information is controlled by very few options. Again, we're looking at a location. We are looking at a range of a radius around that location, and we're looking at a time frame. And that's it. That is what's loading up all of this data here. So let's take a look at what are we looking at. And you'll notice we have a nice little simplified text sentence up here that says, you are currently viewing online and offline hotspots within a 5-mile radius of Austin, Texas, and their performance within the last 7 days. So for example, if you ever get a little confused as to what you're looking at, you can read in plain English what is all this data, where is it represented from? So let's take a look at the data. Within a 5-mile radius and within a 7-day duration, we are looking at 269 hotspots. There are 192 what we call owners, but those are individual wallets, meaning that there's 192 wallets that are controlling 269 hotspots. Collectively, these 269 hotspots over the last 7 days have earned or have mined 1,431 HNT. HNT is a helium token. And so we can actually see here the price of HNT is currently at this very moment at $10.54. Let's go ahead. Looks like we had a little error here. Let's go ahead and just update that and see what might be going on. Okay, looks like it was just a fluke. So within a 14-day time frame, we're looking at 3,439 hotspots. And collectively, over this time frame and this 5-mile radius, these 269 hotspots have created or have profited $36,260, right? So because they've mined 3,439 HNT valued at $10.54 each, this is the total amount that they have generated in US dollars. The average reward scale, and we'll dive on this just briefly. Every hotspot has a reward scale between 0 and 1. This is depending on a lot of different things, but that is assigned to you by the Helium Network. So that reward scale can be based off a lot of different factors. We're going to do some training on reward scale, so we're going to leave that alone for now, but we do know that the average reward scale across 269 miners within this 5-mile radius is 0.44. And the average reward, if we were to say, okay, if there's 269 hotspots and they have mined 3,439 HNT within the last 14 days, what is the average amount of HNT that these hotspots are earning? Well, it's going to be 12.78. So you can kind of just use a basic kind of thought process of, if I dropped a miner within this area, this is a very general way to think about what you can earn, right? Because it's an average. So we're obviously, there's better placements and there's definitely worse placements. I can see some clustering here. So again, all of these KPIs right here are defined by just these 3 drop downs. So, or the search and these 2 drop downs. I want to dive in a little bit more into looking at these, what do these rings mean? This red area here is our 300-meter red zone. According to the Helium protocols, the goal of building the Helium network is proof of coverage. So if you are placing hotspots on top of each other within a 300-meter range, that is a no-no. They want you to spread out. They want you to cover those areas that do not have hotspots. So when you place a hotspot within a red zone that already exists, you're not going to maximize your rewards. This green radius here is going to be your sweet spot. So this is another way to look at if you're going to place a hotspot. Let's see if we can find an example here. Here's a good area. This hotspot does not have anyone else within its red 300 meter range, and it has other hotspots within its green sweet spot. That is something that is going to increase profitability. We will do another training on that as well. Again, I want to point out that I am logged in as a pro account. So when I click on a hotspot and I go ahead and view those details, I will get my advanced hotspot view. This view goes over everything that is happening with any miner from the beginning of its going online. So let's take a look at what this is. We know that it's online and it's synced. In order for every hotspot to perform at its potential, it needs to synchronize with the Helium blockchain. So there's times where they might be syncing, or if you're just putting your hotspot online, it might even take a couple days or even up to a week to get that synced up. We can see the vendor of this hotspot. We know the reward scales. I just mentioned to you, we looked at the average reward scale of all of those miners on the map. We know the 24-hour earnings of that hotspot, which doesn't show any. We have the 7-day earnings of that hotspot. Now, I did notice here that there was a very small amount, 0.03. This is rounding, so that's why we're seeing 0 there. We see the 30-day HNT that was earned as well. We know the hotspot address. Every hotspot has a unique string, which is an address, and you can share this link to share that hotspot. You can view this hotspot on the Helium Explorer. This is the official Helium website, and we can go ahead and see what's going on there too. So sometimes it's helpful to want to reference things or to compare things. That will help you as well. We also have the owner address. So for example, if this hotspot owner had more than one hotspot, we'll see it here. We can see here they have 2 hotspots. So that's helpful too. We can see all of the earnings, and this is a stock chart, so you can actually drag this here and increase, zoom in on a range of earnings or HNT mined, as well as zoom out. We can see just a simple map of placement here, so we can zoom in and we can get a better reference again of where it is. We can enable a dark map or a satellite view as well. Looks like it's probably placed in one of these homes. Here we can see all of the activity types. So this is, as we know, the Helium hotspot is doing all different types of activity. So as far as, everything that it's doing, it could be getting mining rewards. It could be challenging other hotspots. It could be witnessing other hotspots. There's a lot of information and resources, and I don't think it's the right video to go over of what all these mean. But we will provide training on all of these different things. But you can go through and actually see all of the different activity and the mining rewards. You can also sort the activity. For example, if you only wanted to see the mining rewards, you can check that box and just go through all of the different rewards that this hotspot has earned. There's also some other information here. So there's different modes a hotspot can be in. Most of them you're going to see as a full mode. There are such things as light hotspots, and we'll go over that in another video as well. We can see the date it was added on. We can know the gain and the elevation. Now this information here is a manual user input. So this is something that the user has actually typed into their Helium hotspot app and defined and said, my elevation is 5. I'm actually not sure if that's feet or meters, but we'll clarify that by updating this. We can see the latitude and longitude right here, and we can also see the address. It doesn't give us the exact address, but the street. We know the block height again. That was up here, so we can see that it's synced at the latest block height. And we can also see the latest proof of coverage challenge. So when was it last? When did it last deliver a proof of coverage, and what block was that at? And when was the last change? What block was that at? So we could see here, this is a lot of really good information about when you want to drill down into a hotspot. Moving forward, we have here this list, which is actually a really useful tool in being able to go down the list of hotspots that are within this area. So again, we're currently looking at, let's increase it. We'll increase it back out to 25 miles. And we'll see all of this information. Reload. I'm going to move my camera over so we can see the whole list. And we'll see here that this list actually sorts all the hotspots by profitability, right? So we can see here, this hotspot earned 19.19. This one happened to earn the same. And we can actually go ahead and take a look at some of these placements, and we can see that there are good placements. This is has a lot of hotspots in its sweet spot. It doesn't have anything interfering with it, so we can go through and actually understand that these are good hotspots. You can search through this list. So if I wanted to start typing, so I typed the word flat, and we see here it sorted that list. We can also sort this list by distance. So let's talk about that a little bit. We have here a little crosshair, which you may have noticed in the middle of the screen. And as I move the map, you'll see that the crosshair actually stays static in the middle of the screen. And so what this actually is doing is every distance you see here in these little labels are telling us how far these hotspots are from this focal center point. So if I go ahead and I want to drop a hotspot right in there, you'll notice how all of these other hotspots will update with the distance of how far they are from that exact point. So we have one at 1.04 kilometers away, 1.12 kilometers away. And that's very useful to be able to see that. And you'll notice as I move this around, that list is just updating in real time. So very useful for understanding distances. Over here, going to this list over here, we have my hotspots. This is going to show all of the hotspots that are currently linked to this account, and we can go ahead and jump to those as well very easily. We can view their earnings again using the advanced hotspot viewer, and we can also sort these by distance, right? So from that center focal point, and those will go ahead and start updating as well. We can search our existing hotspots same way as we did all the hotspots, and we can also view our planned hotspots. We have another training on how to use the planned hotspots feature, so we won't go over that in this video, but you can see here I can jump to all of my hotspots. So this is generally an overview of all of the functionality that you're going to find on the dashboard. Now, a couple other things I do want to go over is we have a full chart here. Now, just to clarify again, there's various pro features that we did go over in this video. One of them was our smart KPI, our KPI widgets. We have here another pro feature, which is our growth chart. This will show us the growth of hotspots within any particular range or radius. So for example, if we are looking at a 25-mile radius of Las Vegas or Austin, Texas, I believe currently we're in Las Vegas because I jumped to one of my hotspots here, and we're looking at the last 14 days, this will show us the growth of those hotspots, meaning how is this area progressing, how are hotspots getting added, and at what rate. So we can see Las Vegas is growing very, very quickly. The other thing, and again, another pro feature is I want to go over these map settings. There's various settings here that we can enable. You can do a dark map. So here we have our dark map feature. We also have the ability to enable building data and terrain data. So this is actually going to show us, let's actually take a look at what that looks like. So for example here, if I zoom in very close, I can actually pivot this map. Now right now what I'm doing is I'm actually on a computer, I'm holding down the control button, and I'm dragging my mouse up and down, right? That's up and down, and then I can go right to left. So I'm just literally holding my control button down and moving the mouse around while clicking down on the mouse. So this is another useful feature to be able to see that terrain data. We'll have building data. We'll have a training on that and how to look through a little bit more. We just wanted to go over all of the features found here on the dashboard and what they mean. Again, we'll have some further trainings on some of these other features here. We can enable different resolutions as far as the hex data. These are all different hexagonal geospatial placements that Helium uses, as well as other tech companies, in order to find placements and to detect placements. And that's generally it for this video. This is a general overview of the dashboard and what all of these things mean, how they interact with each other, how to control them. We're going to dive into some more trainings on some specifics. And hopefully everyone found this video useful. Thank you.